Hello and welcome to the Conversation Cafe. My name's Beth Turner and I'm a communication coach for young people. And this is where I come to share top tips and techniques with young people just like you, so that you can feel really confident communicating in a whole host of everyday situations. Now, this video is all about how to control the volume of your voice when you are speaking in front of a group. Now, you might find yourself needing to speak out loud just in front of a few people, or it might be that you've got to speak out loud in front of your whole class, or maybe you're doing an assembly and you've got a whole year group listening to you speak, or maybe you are presenting a speech on a stage and what you've got is an audience, a bigger audience of people that you don't know. In any of those situations, the biggest trap that you can fall into when you're trying to present well is not making yourself well heard. If you think about what you're trying to do, you've got information that you want to share with the group. You need to help them hear you so they can understand what you're saying. And quite often we worry about how loudly we can speak. And if we don't speak loudly enough, then people, certainly at the back of an audience, won't be able to hear us. And what happens is, if they can't hear you when you speak, they will start to lose interest. And what you'll see from that audience, you'll start to see them drift off. They'll start to look away from you. They might start to look at their phone or fidget, or worse still, they might turn to the person sitting next to them and start their own little conversation. As the speaker at the front of that audience, if you see that sort of activity happening, it will start to make you lose confidence in what you're doing, because the little voice inside your head says, they're not listening to me. They're not interested in what I'm saying. I'm not very good at this. They think the topic's boring. I knew I shouldn't have done this. This is a horrible experience. And actually, what happens when those thoughts start to run through your mind is your voice starts to become even smaller and you start to be even less confident, and they then drift off and are distracted even more. And it's a horrible cycle of events. Now, it's the easiest thing to do in the world to master the volume of your voice. I'm going to teach you a technique in this video that you can use straight away. Because when you can be sure that everyone, no matter how close or how far away they are from you in that audience, if you can be clear that they can hear you perfectly, then you'll find that you will get a really good reaction from them when they're listening to you. You'll find that their body language is really positive. You'll see them looking at you. You will see them maintain eye contact with you. They will be quiet because your voice is commanding that space. And as a result of getting that positive feedback from your audience, your confidence grows. You think, do you know what? I am good at this. I'm actually enjoying this. They are listening to what I'm saying, they're understanding it, and they are reacting in the right way at the right points. So think, if you want to master the volume of your voice, I want you to think about your voice just like a hose pipe that you are using in a water fight in your garden. Now, this might sound a bit strange, but stay with me. Think if you're having a water fight with someone and the person that you want to spray with your hose is right in front of you, then you probably don't need to put too much effort into getting them wet. You can pretty much let the water fall out the end of the hose pipe and it will land on them. In the same respect, if you want to use your voice instead of water from that hose pipe, and the person you want to speak to is standing right in front of you, you don't really need to put a great deal of effort into being heard. The words can just fall out of your mouth and they will be heard by the person standing in front of you. Now, going back to that water fight scenario, if the person that you're in that water fight with moves halfway down your garden, it's still quite easy to reach with your hose pipe, but you're going to have to work a little bit harder now. And what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to point your hose pipe directly at them, and you're going to need to turn the pressure up on the water so there's more water coming out at the end of that hose pipe in the water fight. Because if there's more water coming out and it's stronger and you're pointing it directly at them, there is a great chance that you are going to be able to reach them. The same occurs when you think about your voice. If they are a little bit further away from you now, you're going to need to turn the volume up on your voice, and you're going to need to point your face at them. And then the words with a greater volume are going to stand much better chance of reaching them. Now, the interesting thing is, think about that person that you're in the water fight with being right down the bottom of your garden. Just, having a little bit more pressure through that hose, the water's just not going to reach them. What would you do if you wanted to soak somebody right at the bottom of your garden with your hose pipe? Tell you what you do. You would crank up the pressure from that tap so you had as much water as possible coming through that hose pipe. And you might even pinch the end a little bit, because the more power that the water has as it leaves the hose pipe, the further it will travel. The other thing you're likely to do with your hose pipe in a water fight is point it up, because you know that the water will stand a better chance of reaching them if it arcs through the air and rains down on them, much more so than if you just pointed it straight at them. Think about doing exactly the same. If you want to reach somebody right at the back of your school hall, or right at the back of the hall that you're presenting to, if you want the person in the back row to hear you as well as the person right in front of you, you're going to need to imagine you're in that water fight scenario. You're going to turn the volume of your voice right up. You're going to lift your chin, and you are going to arc your words through the air, so that by the time they reach the person at the back of the room, your words are going to rain down on them and be perfectly heard. And that's all it takes. So once you have worked out how big your audience is, you just need to do a few things. You need to remember that you're going to have the most positive experience speaking to them if they can hear you. That's your job. You've chosen to speak out loud. You have taken the responsibility to make sure they can hear you. So if you want to speak right to the back of the room, you turn the volume of your voice right up, you lift your chin, and then you arc your words through the air so that they will rain down on the head of the people in the back row of your audience. And it is as simple as that. And when you do that, you'll be easily heard and understood. They will stay engaged with you. They will give you positive body language, and you will enjoy the experience far more than you'd ever imagine. So I hope that technique is useful to you. Let me know how you find it in the comments below. If you liked this video, then tell somebody else about it. If you didn't, tell me why, and I will respond in the comments below. But thank you for joining me in the Conversation Cafe today. I will see you back here soon.